Charles Float here and welcome to the DFY Links podcast. This is episode number 2 and I'm sat here today with Mr. Gareth Simpson from Seeker Digital. Gareth is an outreach and generally link building content optimization specialist. He's probably one of the best outreach people in the entire world. He's kind of world renowned for it. He's done many talks and even he's actually done workshops and things with Brighton SEO and quite a few major companies and organizations for SEO across the world. So thanks for coming on the show today, Gareth.
Thanks, mate. Good to be here.
Yeah,
Cheers.
We're here in sunny Birmingham today with the lovely background as it is. So Gareth is the owner of Seeker Digital, which is a specialist outreach and content optimization agency. They've worked with some of the large companies in the world, Inc. 500, Inc. 5000 kind of companies. As you progressed in SEO and in the state of digital marketing, how has it actually evolved over the last few years, and where do you see SEO kind of heading in the next couple of years as well?
Yeah, good question. I guess it's link building is, obviously that's, as you said, something that I'm really into. So I focus a lot of my efforts there and how I see that sort of evolving in future. I don't really listen to too much industry hype anymore. I just kind of and day-to-day ground level like changes and updates and stuff. Just like try and think about the bigger picture. Bigger picture stuff, and as you know, I've been experimenting and using AI and machine learning tech in our sort of work, and that's been really insightful actually. Not mostly for understanding how the algorithm could work in future or how it works now, and even though I'm not a developer and I'm very amateur AI sort of hobbyist really, but it's been quite effective in our work, and it's taught me a lot about how the algorithm kind of works, and I can see how it would behave, or how, if I was to design it, how I would use things like NLP, natural language processing, and so on, how they would crawl links and use that data to index and categorize the search results and things. So I see it going more and more that way in terms of the technology being a bigger part of it, as the links will still be a massively powerful factor, I think, for a very long time, but the data points used in those links is just going to increase. If you think back to like the original PageRank algo, and it was really 10 years ago, and I was building links 10 years ago. It was just quantity, literally quantity. The more links you had, and was doing all the automated stuff. Exactly. And article submissions, all that sort of stuff, and it worked really really well. And then obviously now there's more quality measurements and metrics built into those algorithms. That's just going to become those data points. If there's for argument's sake, and I'm not saying that there is, say there's 1,000 data points that would factor into to increase or decrease the value of a link, that could become 10,000 or even 1 million different data points, as the neural networks and things are able to run these calculations en masse much quicker than what the current sort of algo could do.
And AI itself is pretty scary in general, but it's specifically scary for the SEO industry, because once AI comes out, it's going to be significantly harder to beat a true AI than if you're trying to actually just beat a traditional algorithm which has those data points. Because the difference is, in my opinion anyway, with an algorithm right now, is the algorithm will be able to change itself when it has true AI, because it will learn, it will adapt, and it will understand the different types of industries, different types of niches and things. Whereas the current algorithm, though it does have some specific SERPs and things like Y and WL niches and things that it treats differently, it doesn't teach itself to treat the actual niches differently. Whereas true AI in the next 10, 20 years will actually be able to do that, which is infinitely scary for people like me anyway.
Exactly. So that's that's unstructured machine learning, right? Versus structured machine learning. So so you give the algo the processor the goal, which is to put the best website in front of the for that query.
And Google's data set is so huge as well.
So then you've got that data which it will use to process, and then the test there is obviously, it would be like user engagement. Did that did it serve the user query, did it serve the search intent, and so on. And then like you say, it will factor into so many different data points that we won't even be able to interpret what that looks like, and it will just find the best result based on what it perceives to be, or what it finds are the best data points to measure, isn't it? So so that's it. That's going to be massive. And then I think that's when the algorithm will really start to align with the search quality rating guidelines, which we know is there's lots of misconception about what that is and what it means, but it's obviously not. They're not ranking factors, as you said. But it's definitely what Google wants the algorithm to be able to identify without those manual raters doing it themselves. So that gap, as this technology exponentially sort of increases, that gap of what Google wants from websites versus what they can currently measure at scale using their primitive. I say primitive, obviously it's very advanced, but in terms of where it's going to be, that gap is just going to close to the point where the algorithm is able to follow those guidelines, right? Whether they achieve it or not, I guess we'll see.
It's all about commercial. The true AI and true machine learning is all about commercial quantum computing. So being able to, because right now processors don't have the ability to operate in an effective way to be able to run machine learning and AI and things. You need quantum computing because that works in the same way as a human brain does, and allows you to do like multiple things at once. And right now they're like $200 million for one quantum processor. So it's gonna be a while until they've been able to make it commercially available. But I think it's getting closer and closer, and technology progresses so quickly nowadays that it will literally be a matter of maybe a decade at this point. Moving away from really techie, nerdy stuff onto the actual business side of things, you've expanded massively in the last 2 years, 3 years. I remember probably 3 years ago, was it, or 4 years ago, when you were just a one-man, or you had one employee even, and now you're up to nearly 20 employees. How has it been going from, like I said, a one-man band into being the operator of a medium-sized company that is just exponentially growing and continually hiring people? How has that transition been, and how have you kind of embraced it as you've succeeded with doing it?
Yeah, it was. So it was 3 to 4 years ago when I was in the proper PBN group, and I just quit my job. I'd been building up to it for a long time. I'd worked for 4 agencies in my career. Some development, like hardcore development agencies, and a couple of SEO agencies. Did an in-house SEO role, and and then I transitioned, I have to bite the bullet. It was my 29th birthday, so and then I was at home. I was like, I need to hustle. I need to make some money. I need to pay my rent. So I hadn't ever thought about checking Facebook for communities. I just never crossed my mind. I was in the old the old forums and things, and I jumped in the Facebook. I thought I'd just go and do a couple of searches, and came across the group. I was like, wicked. So connected, joined the group, and just started getting involved in chats and conversations that were going on. Started to learn a lot as well, especially on the business side, and I'd always had an interest in links, and that was kind of I'd been very lucky enough to work for an agency that taught me content marketing, and I took that, got a bit more aggressive with it, and turned it into very SEO focused sort of techniques. And other SEOs in the group seemed to, who needed the work for their own clients or for their affiliate sites, seemed to. A lot of people struggle with link building, don't they?
Really do.
So that was very lucky, and that got me enough, income to kind of pay for my rent, which is the number one thing. So it's that group, if I could give any advice to anyone about when you're first going at it, and cash flow is the killer, right? Is king in those early days. Network, get in the groups, get in the communities, get on the training courses, come to conferences, like this. That's the only, it's the people here who were there 3-4 years ago when I was just starting out, and gave me that initial bit of work and stuff. So I went from there to picking up some big clients, and they wanted more and more, and so then I moved out of moved out of my house, got an office instead, and hired a team of writers to start with, and I was doing all the technical stuff, and I outsourced the first thing that was slowing me down in the business, and it was content.
It's hard to do content properly.
Because it would take me. I was even writing content myself, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's not worth it at all.
No, it was taken away from outreach. But so I started outsourcing content, and it wasn't until about 6 people in that I actually got another SEO into the business.
Oh, okay.
So I could do all of the SEO myself. The workload was just about enough to manage, but it was at that point that I thought, it's too much. I need another SEO.
Break your back kind of thing.
So I brought in a junior, and he was awesome, and really freed my time up and unlocked a load of sort of new potential. And then from there, the growth from that point, 7 or 8, to now 15, 18, 19 people now, and some positions outstanding. That's the growth kind of happens without me now, which is like it's just kind of just going on its own, because everyone knows what they need to do, and which has been really good.
That was actually my next question, was about hiring.
Okay.
Because I know a lot of people at home actually find hiring really difficult, whether it be VAs or whether it be actual people that you have physically in your office in the UK. You're based in Bristol, I know.
Yeah.
How have you found hiring? Have you got any tips for people that are looking to hire? Is there any specific people, or is there any specific type of people that you'd go after? And how have you found hiring in general? Because I know for a lot of people it's very difficult to hire and even fire people as well. They find that very difficult because it's quite an emotional part of it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's a cliche, hire slow, fire fast. It's a cliche, but it's so true. You have to be brutal with it, especially in the early days when there's no room for and for carrying those people through. So especially specific to link building, definitely writers, you need to you need that to scale. And, I mean, that ratio there was like 6 to 1. I had 6 writers to 1 SEO, and before I needed another SEO. So it shows the difference in where the skill set should lie. But I would say just map it out, and then start to segment tasks. Map out the whole operation, start to finish, the whole outreach process, for example, or any process in the business, and then write down the competencies needed. Then write down the task, and then write the competencies needed to do that task, and then mold that into like job profiles, job specs, and then that's how you start to figure out who you need to hire, and then give them that one specific job, and then as you grow, start breaking it down even further. So you have one SEO, but then as the more SEO work comes in, they become senior, and you get 2 juniors, and they start passing off the more the grunt work and the lower level stuff to them.
That's actually something Todd Foster does.
Yeah.
Is he'll split his SEO team into specific specialties. So he'll have like someone who specifically just does outreach.
Right.
He'll have someone who specifically does on-page audits. He'll have someone that does specifically like advanced technical code-based kind of SEO. Is that something you do, or do you just kind of have jack of all trades kind of SEOs? Because it's got to the point now where being an SEO is so much more than just SEO. That it's overwhelming. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's definitely segmented by. So I kind of see like there's, back when in the earlier days, SEO was technical, right? The tech SEOs were just running the show. Now, because the industry has evolved so much, there's kind of there's creative SEOs. Right? And they're dealing with the content. They're dealing with they're more like PR backgrounds and things, and actually that's who we recruit for for outreach and so on. They're so much better at outreach than SEOs in terms of how they come across in negotiations and pitching and stuff. Really segment out and make sure everyone's working on the best, the most appropriate tasks for their for their natural talents.
And as someone who is based in the UK, with the current climate of the UK economy and things, how have you found the how can I word this politely? How have you found the economy around you? I know you've been able to have this exponential growth and things, but how have you found the clients specifically in the UK? And are you trying to target clients in the UK, or are you trying to go for the more international scene? Because I know a lot of UK clients, I know a lot of UK people at the moment are trying to get billed in dollars so that they can get it back in pounds, so you're getting a way better conversion rate at the moment.
It's an interesting one. I think I remember, the recession, the last recession going back, and I had friends and stuff who were losing, losing work and stuff, especially like construction and so on. And I was in SEO then, or I was in web and design and build agencies and things. I had no problem getting a job. No problem whatsoever in the web industry, in the tech world. Despite a recession, it was like one area that just kept growing and growing and growing. So I don't really think it affects. It didn't affect me then, and it was a great choice getting into this industry, I think.
100%.
And now again, it doesn't really affect us in terms of prospects and things, and and that's because we do diversify. We've got a big mix of clients from abroad, all over the world really, stateside, and then a healthy mix in the UK as well. So spreading around. So there's no single point of failure. If it was all UK market, I'd probably be a little bit more concerned. Where it might affect things is, where if things start to get a bit disrupted in the supply chains and things, as we're hearing, then my clients might get affected, and that's going to affect their interest in investment, or it's going to
their sales and things.
Investment in SEO. So but I just try and just focus and just keep doing what we're doing. We're very lucky, to be in this industry, I think.
Yeah, and I think the UK is very well represented in the SEO industry. I think actually we're probably the powerhouse of SEO in terms of the world. We have the biggest SEO conference in the world, Brighton SEO. We've got some of the biggest people like yourself, Matthew Woodward, Craig, who's on earlier. We've got these huge names and things. It's almost as if we're overrepresented on the stage. When you go to the Chiang Mai conference, there's more British people than about anyone else at the conference in Thailand, which is quite amazing. I wonder, do you know, I don't know really why it's that way, but have you got any insights into the UK scene and how it's grown over the years quite a lot?
It's funny, isn't it? Because it is, I think especially in link building as well. I hear it from others, I hear it from big brands, and I hear it from those coming over from the States and things, the big companies who are exhibiting and stuff. And I asked them, where they rate Brighton SEO and the other UK conferences and things, and they say it's just, there's just such a massive scene out here, and a lot of attraction and lots of capability. And I don't know, especially on links. I think they say we're a bit more aggressive actually, and a bit more aggressive isn't no, that's the wrong word actually. Braver, and more open to it. Probably. I don't know. Maybe it's just a British thing. I don't know. But and content. I think we're a bit big on that scene. So
most of the major newspapers are actually UK based as well. Even in the world, on the world stage, the biggest website in the world for news is the New York Times. But then second is the Guardian, and then third I think it's the Independent. So it's we own I think out 4 out of the top 5 of the biggest newspapers as well in the world are actually British owned. Daily Mail as well as another one. So it's very interesting to see all the journalism and stuff coming into it as well now, because we've actually made our first hire who has a journalism and politics degree, and that's a very interesting world around news, SEO and that kind of thing. So we actually had Barry Adams in the office a couple of months ago, and some of his clients, The Sun, the Daily Mail, Fox News, some huge newspapers, and to see the scale that they're kind of operating on with millions and in some cases tens of millions of pages of high quality journalistic content, high quality. It's interesting to see how the tech and information world has grown into that, and how these organisations have adapted around Google's algorithms. Because if you looked at the recent algorithms, the Sun and the Daily Mail were hit horrendously.
Yeah.
Like they lost literally a fifth of their traffic. They've gone down to a fifth of their traffic previously. And how do you see these large corporations and these large enterprises, because you work with them on a daily basis now, how do you see them adapting to SEO and adapting to Google's algorithms? Because Google's almost forcing their hand in having to adapt to it, because their traffic is so reliant on Google nowadays.
Yeah, I think I've seen a big resurgence of outreach and content marketing and link building. The PRs are shouting about it. The more editorial focused skill sets and things are talking about it. And there was obviously link building got a lot of bad rep for many years, and it put a lot of companies off. And it's kind of it's going full circle again as they start to. Basically, the industry, and quite rightly so, the industry was cleaned up, and now the focus is on quality work and on-brand stuff that you can sit in a boardroom and talk about, outreach and link building campaigns and so on, and they get it because they see the other tangible business case and justifications in terms of brand awareness, education, comms,
and results at the end of the day,
and results exactly. So. So it is going full circle in some ways, I think, and the big brands are starting to get into it again, and we're winning some, big contracts as SEOs and in-house SEOs are now looking at things and said, no one's looked at links for 5 years at this company. We need to get in a firm to actually start auditing, protecting, and building, links. In terms of the wider SEO field. Obviously all the EAT stuff is what's being championed and so on. And yes, obviously it's not. They're not ranking factors per se, but again, going back to that, what the search engines want and things. Then and really, like you read through it, a lot of it does make sense. It's like okay, you should have this. You should have a, this sort of page. You should have these T's and C's and. Social proof and stuff. So we're just trying to make sure we implement all of that.
One of the things that a lot of people don't or forget to cover as part of those quality rated guidelines, I don't know if you've seen them, but Google actually released examples of like sites that they want to see.
Right.
Yeah, have you seen that? I don't know if you've seen the document.
I've seen the document. I can't remember what are the examples.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure because I read all of them because they have it for different niches. So they have like fashion, travel, and things, and it correlates very well if you look at the examples that they gave, because the examples were from like 2017 or so, and if you look at those sites now, they're ranking phenomenally. Like they're doing very well. So and whilst those documents don't give away the specifics of why, you can take away with an educated guess as an SEO of what they're doing right and what they're doing correct. Yeah. And I think that those documents were almost even more beneficial to me anyway as an SEO than the quality rated guidelines, because the quality rated guidelines was just kind of giving you an obvious overview of what a manual rater is trying to look for. It's whilst I do think it's the perfect idea of what to future-proof your site is, I don't think it's the ranking right now. I think it's just what I've always told affiliates as well is you should read it and make it so that if your manual reviewer does get on your website, then you know exactly what Google is looking for to actually remove remove the elements that Google are telling these manual reviewers to remove those sites from the index for. So it's almost giving, as me, I'm not grouping you, but I'm a grey hat, black hat, whatever people want to call me nowadays. It's always given us a benefit of being able to see what we need to remove as elements that Google are going to consider our website not trustworthy. So it's helped me prevent penalties almost. Yeah, that's it. Whichever way you go about it, it's it's reducing your exposure and risk to risk awareness to that to those to that scrutiny and things. I guess. For us again, it depends on the client about how we prioritize stuff and these techniques and things. But for the big brands and stuff, they've got the budget, and they're like, if you say we could go through this whole document and start ticking off and make sure you've implemented all this stuff. Can't say it's going to help or not, but and they're like, let's do it, sure. So and they sign off. And they have the budgets too as well. That's the thing. When you work with those kind of level clients. But on mid-level, lower tier clients, then we're focusing on rankings and revenue. Then I'm probably just gonna to go a bit harder and do what I know is gonna rank that site. 100%. And with mitigated risk and so on in there, or
no more risk really at all. But just prioritising the biggest wins, I guess.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, well, thank you for being on the show and everything. I hope you enjoyed sitting down with us today.
Yeah.
And is there anything you're up to in the next couple of months, or anything you're speaking at anywhere, or what's your next plans?
Yeah, so big one would be the link building course at Brighton SEO, which is coming up next month. So that's quite a new thing, and it's been evolving. It's getting better every time. I've got some content coming out which I'll keep under wraps for now, but that should be pretty good. Spent a lot of time on it, and some speaking gigs and stuff too. So
awesome.
I'll be putting it up on the profiles and on the site and stuff soon.
Well, all you have to do is Google Gareth Simpson and you'll be able to find him. He's an SEO after all. Thank you for being on the show once again, and make sure to like, comment and subscribe in the section down below. Hope you enjoyed this video. I've been Charles, this has been Gareth Simpson. Peace.